YouTube, welcome. What it is? This is your boy Blasphemous H Dizzle. But all right. So we got another, I think, good video, blind reaction. It popped up on my recommended. It's called "What if Sukuna took a stronger vessel?" So this is gonna be like a different scenario than what we have seen currently, where we have not seen the Jujutsu Kaisen, Shinjuku Showdown, the Culling Games, the manga, and all that. But without further ado, let's get right into the video.
Once upon a time, there was a very strong and popular antagonist known as Ryomen Sukuna. Now, he was so strong that some delusional glazers actually believed that he was going to fully win the story of Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, those glazers are hopefully extinct now because after what feels like years, Ryomen Sukuna is finally dead. However, after getting some inspiration from Twitter, I started to wonder if Sukuna actually could have won if he took over a different sorcerer's body instead of Megami's. So, in this video, I'm gonna suggest 5 sorcerers that Sukuna could have taken over, which would have made him even stronger than Megami did. Originally, I didn't really think anything would compare to Sukuna with Megami's 10 Shadows and Maharaga, but after a few hours of smashing my 2 remaining brain cells together, I realized that there were many sorcerers Sukuna could take over, which would definitely make him more dangerous than Megami did. Before we get started though, if this video can somehow reach 1,000 likes, I can't believe I'm gonna say this.
Well, you heard him. If you guys can reach 1,000 likes on this video, he'll do something.
I will do the entirety of my next chapter review in a terrible Satoru Gojo cosplay. Anyway, let's get cooking. So, the first sorcerer that I think would make a deadlier vessel for Sukuna is everyone's favorite curse speech user, Toge Inamaki. And by the way, I've not forgotten that only like 1 in a million people can be a vessel for Sukuna without dying, but for the sake of entertainment, we're gonna assume that all of these sorcerers can. I mean, what do you want from me? You just want me to say, oh, Sukuna took over Inamaki and then f***ing dies? See you next time? No, that's boring, and I don't do boring. Anyway, let's say that Gojo just got sealed in Shibuya, and then Yuji starts making his way over to save him. At one point, he sees Inamaki, who's all like, salmon, kelp. But before Yuji can respond, Sukuna goes, rah, and chain, motherfucker, and then bam, Inamaki gets perception blitzed and a finger shoved down his throat. Inamaki then grows even more face tattoos, and will now be known as Inukuna. Okay, no, fine, that's a shit name, whatever. Now, a 15 plus finger strength Sukuna with a curse speech technique is most definitely scarier than the 10 Shadows, in my opinion. When it comes to curse speech, the effectiveness of the words and the amount of backlash you take are all dependent on how strong your opponent is. In the case of a 15 plus finger strength Sukuna though, there is only one sorcerer alive who could possibly be a problem for him. The gap between Sukuna and literally every other sorcerer is so great that he could literally walk around shouting die, and without any backlash, they would all collapse. And yes, I think commands like
That's actually crazy to think that Sukuna being the strongest, so he has like more than double of Yuta's I was about to say chakra, cursed energy, right? Yeah, but he's absolutely right. Only Gojo would be a significant threat to him because he's the only one strong enough to have what so little effect from the cursed speech technique.
Die or explode would definitely work on sorcerers as strong as Shinjuku, Yuta, and Yuji, assuming that Sukuna is somewhere above 15 fingers and at full strength. It's also an amazing crowd control ability that would help Sukuna a lot when getting jumped, which was ultimately his defeat. There is a counter to cursed speech though, where you can basically reinforce your ears and brain with cursed energy. Now, assuming Sukuna's cursed speech isn't so strong that it could just blow past any sorcerer's reinforcement, there is an even more dangerous way that Sukuna can actually use it. If he fully incarnated into his Heian form, he could use his 4 arms and 2 mouths, meaning that he can keep his opponent too busy fighting him, and then he can drop a sneaky get crushed on them with his second mouth. It would also be very easily interchangeable with Shrine, so if he had it, I don't really think he will lose a jumping. However, there is a major weakness to this option. Sukuna's curse speech would absolutely no-diff anybody with the exception of Satoru Gojo. Now, first off, Infinity does actually auto-detect anything charged with cursed energy, meaning that curse speech will not reach him. But even if Sukuna used it once Gojo's curse technique had burnt out following domain expansion, Gojo is so strong that Sukuna might genuinely take backlash from commands like die. And when I say backlash, I mean it could happen to him. I think the only commands that are actually usable against Gojo are ones like don't move, which obviously is not as good as Maharaga. In conclusion, curse speech Sukuna is OP as fuck unless he's fighting the honored one. Okay, next up we're gonna see how dangerous Sukuna would be if he took over the body of Yuki Tsukumo. So there Yuji is, frozen in the ice with Yuki in front of him talking to Kanjuro.
Actually, this one this vessel would be insane if Sukuna had it.
Kaku. Sukuna would obviously be very jealous because he doesn't have cake like Yuki does, so he would want to take some of that for himself. And just like last time, bam, enchain, finger down throat, and then Yuki awakens as Sukuna. With Sukuna's insane level of cursed energy and his near Gojo level cursed energy efficiency, he would make Yuki's Star Rage technique a one-shot machine for pretty much any sorcerer. Literally anyone who gets within arm's reach of Sukuna dies to a single punch. That means every Jujutsu High student gets one shot, including Shinjuku, Yuta, and Yuji. Ryu Ishiguri would also just get one banged, again, and so would Yorozu, even with her insect armor. It also means that Curse Technique Kashimo will die even faster than he did, because the second he closes the distance, bam, 4 arms worth of Star Rage will literally reduce him to jelly. Sukuna does just already know diff everyone with Shrine alone though, so this is kind of boring. The real test of strength is to see how far Star Rage Sukuna can take down Satoru Gojo compared to the Maharaga plan. Now we determined that Curse Speech would not be anywhere near as good as Maharaga for dealing with Gojo, but to be honest, I think Star Rage is going to be so much better. After breaking Infinite Void from the outside and burning Gojo out of his technique, all Sukuna would need to do is the exact same thing he did in the actual fight. He would just need to rush in and stop Gojo leaving, and then throw hands while Gojo's Infinity is down. Against the unreal destructive power of Star Rage though, Gojo has no chance in a hand-to-hand fight against Sukuna. If Yuki was able to take both of Kenjaku's reinforced arms off in one punch, then imagine what Sukuna would do to Gojo. If Gojo blocks, then he simply loses his arms and then his head gets instantly caved in. Sukuna would literally win low to mid diff in the first domain clash. So yeah, taking over Yuki's body would definitely make for the most dangerous Sukuna yet. However, that's all about to change because next up is the GOAT Fumiko Takaba. Now in case you don't know, Takaba...
This guy, man. It's just a shame we didn't get to see too much of him in the manga, but he was I thought he was an insanely lit character.
Possesses the objectively best curse technique in the entire verse, the comedian technique. I mean, Gege literally states in the manga that as a technique, comedian even surpasses limitless by a lot. I mean, it is just straight up reality bending, and not the B-Tech reality bending like Gear 5, actual reality bending. As long as the user finds themselves funny, they can do anything. So if Sukuna took Takaba's body and made a joke about Gojo turning into a frog, then it would happen, provided that Sukuna actually finds it funny. Something people forget though is that as long as the user is confident and in the comedy zone, they become completely invulnerable to damage. I mean, not that Sukuna isn't pretty much invulnerable to damage anyway, but you know what I mean. Every attack does land on Takaba, but he literally just doesn't take a single scratch. It's like the damage never happened. Now, I think this curse technique is so dangerous in Sukuna's hands because his entire thing is always being crazy confident and finding entertainment in everything he can. Entertainment is literally his only motive as a villain. I mean, take the moment where Sukuna and Arame make fun of Yuji, for example. With the comedian technique, Sukuna would make the joke and then Yuji would actually turn into that statue that they're talking about. Due to Takaba being a very morally driven person and a complete moron, the technique was never used to even half its full potential. But for someone like Sukuna who does not care about cold-blooded murder, it becomes incredibly deadly. Also, yes, you can use the technique to kill, it's just that Takaba refuses to, so don't give me that weird excuse. Basically, by taking over Takaba's body, Sukuna will become immune to damage and able to do anything he could ever want. I mean, it would make him damn near omnipotent. I think I've made my point very clear though, so let's move on. Okay, the next vessel that Sukuna could have taken that would have made him so much stronger is Mai Zenin, and he would do this in order to gain her absolutely busted construction technique. Now, I'm sure a few of you are wondering why I chose Mai as the vessel over Yorozu. Well, that's actually very simple. Yorozu was also a cursed object that had a vessel, so Sukuna wouldn't be able to take over her or any other incarnated sorcerer like Kashimo or Ryu. That's why I simply chose a sorcerer with the same broken-ass technique, Mai Zenin. Now, the technique is completely wasted on Mai because construction is literally the most cursed energy inefficient curse technique we have ever seen. She literally could only make 1 rubber bullet a day. She's actually just a Miwa victim, bro. Oh, yeah. Even Yorozu, who was stated to have very high cursed energy and output, still has to be so careful with the technique just because of how unbelievably inefficient it is. In Sukuna's hands though, well, you might as well just remove the limits completely. Not only does he have as much cursed energy as Gege wants him to have, but his efficiency is said to be similar to Gojo's, and Gojo has the damn 6 eyes. Bro's efficiency is so good that it's literally stated he could open as many domain expansions as he needed in a single day, given that he recovers his curse technique each time. Imagine how dangerous dangerous he would be with a completely unlimited construction technique. Not only would he be able to create a perfect sphere, but he's probably good enough to create a bunch of mini perfect spheres that move faster than Yorozu's big one. Now, I don't claim to be a scientist or anything, but due to perfect sphere having infinite pressure, I have seen people argue that it would tear through Gojo's infinity. Personally though, I think people just hear the word infinite and then immediately jump on Gojo's ass and go, haha, this can beat you. As long as he knows the composition of what he's making though, he could literally create anything. I mean, he might even be able to create cursed tools like Mai and Yorozu both did, but without sacrificing his life for it. I mean, imagine he pulled up to fight Gojo with Inverted Spear of Heaven Mark II. It's literally over for Gojo. Like, that guy's getting Vietnam flashbacks and running away. I don't care. He won't even make it to domain expansion.
This is actually like one of the vessels I cannot think of. Construction, Maki's sister. Sukuna having that much fast energy will be able to create anything. It's insane.
And it's just over. Now, Sukuna could potentially be held back by Maki's existence, but the solution to that is very easy. He just needs to unexist Maki. The idea is that Sukuna could bring out the full planet-destroying power of Mai's construction technique. Anyway, the final sorcerer that I want to talk about, which Sukuna could have taken over to become even stronger, is actually one that you will most likely be surprised by at first, but trust me, it's for a good reason. I have chosen the blood-manipulating heir to the Kamo clan, Noritoshi Kamo. Similar to Mai, I chose Noritoshi.
I didn't expect that. I was honestly thinking Toto, you know, with the boogie woogie. Sukuna would make it better. Like, vastly better, vastly stronger. He could probably even just, or blink and, you know, it'll teleport. I don't know, maybe.
Because I wanted Sukuna to get his hands on blood manipulation, but without taking over Chozo, because like Yorozu, Chozo already inhabits a vessel. Now, blood manipulation has been widely regarded as one of the big three techniques of Jujutsu throughout history, and it is implied that at some point through history, its full potential was able to compete with the 10 Shadows and the Limitless technique. In Chozo's hands, the technique is already insanely strong, and is easily one of the most versatile techniques in the entire series. In Sukuna's hands though, blood manipulation would be way too overpowered. I mean, he literally perfectly replicated piercing blood using Max Elephant's water after only observing others using it 3 or 4 times ever. Not to mention the fact that Megana's low output piercing flood drew blood from Satoru Gojo, a man so durable that he managed to tank a boosted Malevolent Shrine. Imagine how deadly it would be if he could access the entire technique. And on top of that, his cursed energy efficiency means that he can just use as much blood as he wants, because then he can simply create more. Now, we are getting into a little bit of headcanon here, but I am certain that Sukuna would be able to unlock the full potential of the blood manipulation curse technique, just as he did with Megami's 10 Shadows. And since its full potential is implied to compete with the 10 Shadows and Limitless, I'm sure it could do some crazy things. The craziest possibility I can think of though is it just straight up allows you to bloodbend. Like, if he can control other people's blood, then Gojo Loki gets no diffed without infinity even being a problem. I mean, when I think about it, it wouldn't actually be that hard, because we know that blood manipulators can control any substance or object mixed with their own blood. So Sukuna just needs to make his attacks coated with his own blood, and then once it enters the opponent's bloodstream, bam, bloodbending. Easy clap, verse gets wiped. Anyway, those are 5 sorcerers that I think could have made for an even deadlier vessel than Megami. So much so that Sukuna might have just won the whole series. Before we wrap shit up though, I'm gonna very quickly rank all of them from worst to best, because I know you guys love a ranking. At last place is the blood manipulation of Noritoshi Kamo, simply because its full potential is just headcanon. And then I'm gonna place Inamaki in 4th, because despite Curse Speech being an instant one-shot to 99% of people, it's not gonna help him as much as Maharaga did against Satoru Gojo. In 3rd place is Mai's construction, due to how freely Sukuna can use it, and just spamming perfect spears is crazy. In 2nd place is Yuki Tsukumo, because Star Rage Sukuna one-bangs literally everybody, including a burnt-out Gojo. And surprise, surprise, 1st place goes to Takaba, because duh. But that does it for today's video, so be sure to let me know if you want to see a part 2. Also, don't forget to drop a like if you want to see my shit Gojo cosplay, and also subscribe if you haven't already. As always,
alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining the video. You know, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and my feedback. Let me know what else I should react to. This was a great video by none other than Alan's Y. Make sure to go check out his video. Like he said, 1,000 likes, and there'll be a part 2. And hey, I'll react to it. Look, I like it right now. But anyways, you guys have a blessed one. Stay safe. Don't let anybody, you know, tell you that you're not. Jesus is King. Jesus loves you. And as always, peace.